A size 22 woman has received a major modeling contract and everyone's losing their shit over it. Didn't see that one coming.
Pushing your sarcasm to the side, Laci, I'm still trying to figure out how you did see this one coming. Much like Justin Bieber's penis, I really don't understand why anyone gives a fuck about this fat woman. Let's get this done.
Hey friends, Laci Green here. It's no secret that supermodels are tall and very thin, and they've only gotten taller and thinner as time has gone on. 20 years ago, female models were 8% thinner than average. Now, they're 23% thinner than average.
Well, while it is true that most models now have gotten taller, the standards of models really haven't changed all that much. What has changed, though, is the average size of women around them. You see, women, on average, about 50 to 60 years ago, were about 5'2" and weighed 135 pounds. Well, the average size of a lot of women now is about 5'4" and 145 pounds. Which, I mean, relative to me, ain't really much of shit. However, if you're comparing that to the size of these models, which haven't really changed all too much during the course of decades, that is what accounts for the differences between how models were 8% thinner to 23% thinner now. Also, you have to take into account a lot of different waist size for women. About, again, 56 years ago was about 27 inches, and now I think it is about 34. So, yeah, the models haven't really changed all too much. It's just the people around them that are being compared to. So,
companies like Ralph Lauren have allegedly fired size 4 models for being too fat, prompting models like Tyra Banks to comment on the pressure.
now, that is just mean. There's no reason to call somebody who is awkwardly skinny as fat. But you know, one interesting thing that's always thrown me for a loop is how these women process that information. I mean, I don't really understand how someone can call a woman who's about like 110 fucking pounds to be fat, and how she can look in the mirror and somehow process that she's fat when there's a plethora of people all around her for much of her fucking life that weigh upwards of 145 to 260 pounds. I mean, I really don't get that. That makes no sense to me. Like, I would love to be a woman for a day so I can understand how someone can call me fat and then, like, I don't know, I don't get it. I don't understand how women process information sometimes.
Enter Tess Munster. At 5'5" and 260 pounds, she's quite the departure from the trend.
Probably due to the fact that she is both taller and weighs a lot more than the average size of women have been for the last 50 years. I mean, she does strike that odd middle ground between the average size of normal women and the average size of models. Well, I think runway models are normally about 5'10", 5'11", if I'm correct there.
Tess had always wanted to be a model growing up, but was bullied so badly for her weight that she dropped out of school. Like a trooper, she pushed on, and now she's scored a contract with Milk Modeling Agency.
Dropping out of school is not being a trooper and pushing on. That's called being a quitter.
Sadly, the bullying hasn't stopped. She endures an onslaught of hate every time she posts a picture, and that only intensified when she got signed. The obvious question, what's the problem? The obvious but oversimplified answer, because Tess's very presence glorifies an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yes, usually obesity is not something you want to glamorize. I remember a couple of years ago I saw many documentaries that were saying that it was it was a bad thing to glamorize incredibly anorexic and skinny women. So really all that's happened is we just had a pendulum shift from one extreme to the other.
Now, last I checked, she hasn't been posting pictures telling teenagers to do drugs and eat candy for breakfast.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of really skinny models don't go around telling their fans that they should go binge eat and starve themselves and become anorexic. Except a lot of young ladies do end up doing that sometimes. See what I'm saying there?
But more importantly, you can't tell someone's health status just by looking at them.
Now, Laci, you are dumb. But do you expect me to believe that you genuinely... No, you're bullshitting me. There's no way you, as a fucking sexpert, said what you just said. Laci, let me tell you something. Physical attractiveness, the entire purpose of physical attractiveness, the whole reason why you even find anything to be physically attractive, Laci, is because your reptilian brain is telling you that that is healthy and that is a good person to reproduce with. That is all sexual attraction is. It is your base lizard brain telling you that that is a good person who's healthy and strong enough to produce offspring with. You absolutely can tell whether or not someone is or is not healthy. You cannot diagnose whether someone has an illness by just looking at them. Although to a certain degree, yes you fucking can depending on the disease. But there are some things, yeah, again, you can't really diagnose with certainty what someone has, but you can absolutely fucking tell whether or not someone is healthy by looking at them. If you see somebody with fucking bloodshot eyes and a runny nose, you can fucking delineate that that person is not doing that fucking well at this point in time. Keep going.
Sure, extra weight can pose a health risk, but the severity and type of risk depends on the person and the type of fat that it is. For instance, visceral fat that wraps around the organs is higher risk than subcutaneous fat that's under the skin.
I mean, yeah, it's true in some cases that, you know, the amount of fat that you have can't be helped, and that some people are healthy, as in they have a pretty strong heart and, you know, pretty good skeletal system. However, for the most part, everyone isn't that fucking special, okay? And having a lot of fat on you is a bad thing, and it is very unhealthy.
Extra fat can also be caused by other health conditions that the person's dealing with, but of course, that's none of Instagram's business. Since fat is one of the few health issues that it's socially acceptable for strangers to comment on, I'm skeptical about the authenticity of these concerns. I mean, if people are so concerned about health, why doesn't anyone care if thin models are healthy?
You remember how earlier in the video I alluded to the fact that I used to watch lots of different documentaries on skinny runway models? Yeah, people do, Laci. Again, you're just swinging the pendulum from one extreme to the other.
Are these same people so concerned that we're bombarded with images of women that are anywhere from 10 to 30% underweight? If we're so concerned about Tessa's health, we need to talk about how people who are bullied because of their weight are 2.5 times more likely to become obese regardless of their starting weight.
Yeah, except healthy body weight and bullying are not the same thing. You know, bullying is wrong regardless of the topic, no matter what it is. Yeah, but the goal should be to encourage people to love themselves enough so that they want to become healthier and thinner. Not to make people feel bad, not to make people feel good about continuing to do bad habits that will end up killing them in the long run.
It's about health. We need to talk about how girls start dieting as young as 5, and 81% of 10-year-olds say they're afraid of having fat.
Laci, give me one good reason why we shouldn't be afraid of becoming unhealthy.
Because that's not healthy, y'all. Not even a little bit.
In all honesty, if a 5-year-old really is dieting, we need to examine what's going on in her family unit, because something doesn't sound too right about that.
And yet, it's Tess telling girls to love and accept themselves and chase their dreams who's glorifying an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah, she is. That's exactly what's going on.
We already glorify an unhealthy lifestyle. The lifestyle of self-hate, constant body monitoring, and bullying people who don't measure up. So, nah, I don't think it's about health. I think that it's actually about prejudice. Scientists have documented that weight prejudice is straight up common and socially acceptable. It's so common that kids learn it by the time they're 4 years old.
I wonder if kids learn how to discriminate against people who wear glasses. Or I wonder if kids learn to discriminate against people who are shorter than them.
These prejudices manifest as thinly veiled health concerns from strangers.
Because God forbid you give a fuck about other people.
Stares and disgust, employment discrimination, and so on.
There's not one source to back any of that data up.
I also think that people are threatened and uncomfortable with the idea that a woman of Tessa's size could make it. That you can be fat and beautiful and successful, and that a person who's very not thin is allowed to love their body.
You know, there's a section of modeling that does call for plus-sized women. Are there any plus-sized male models? Oh, yeah, I didn't think so. Another funny thing is there's a whole genre or category of big, fat, beautiful women in pornography. How many big, fat men do you normally see in pornography? I thought so.
Sadly, people internalize their own feelings of inadequacy and then they lash out at others to deal with it.
Congratulations, you just discovered what a bully is.
So instead of being cruel to each other, we should remember that our perceptions of beauty and even health to some extent are highly influenced by our culture. The ideal body is always in flux regardless of health implications, and someone's assumed health status doesn't determine their worth as a person. By getting more body types into the mix, we're challenged to become more accepting and open-minded about diversity.
Yeah, but diversity doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good thing, Laci. One thing that we always have to keep in mind, and I'm going to make an entire video that revolves around this, is the purpose of physical attractiveness. The purpose of looking to be physically attractive is to attract people, or it's to make other mates think that you are a good candidate for mate selection or have sex with you. That's the whole point of being physically attractive, because you yourself does not benefit from, having a fat ass, other than men want to have sex with you. That being said, Laci, getting back to the specific point of being overweight in your video, at what point does this become too much? At what point does this idea of loving yourself to death by being fat collapse on itself? I mean, does it stop at 300 pounds? Does it stop at 400 pounds? Maybe 550? At what point are we going to say that, objectively speaking, that's not healthy, that's not a good weight to be? I mean, there are lots of different shows that take a gander at the unhealthy lifestyle that people live who are overweight. You got The Biggest Loser. You even have like My 600-Pound Life or something like that. Lots of different shows of people trying to lose weight because they know it's not healthy on an objective standard. Yes, people are attracted to different things. And the interesting thing that you'll find out about men when it comes to trying to date women is the more a man really cares about a woman, the less attractive she is to him, or the less her physical beauty really matters to him in the fucking first place. In all honesty, to contest or complain about whether or not you are physically attractive or not as a woman is a waste of time, and that is an entire video unto itself. So, wrap us up, Laci.
It also helps us break the sexist chains of what women are allowed to look like. Sounds pretty healthy to me.
Sexist chains on women. You just had to make it about women, huh? Because it's not like men can be any weight and they will still be desirable and sexy and attractive to women. Oh, no. Yeah, men can just be super fat lardos and women will still want to date them and be with them. That is only a problem that women deal with, by the way. I just want you to know, only women have to deal with being overweight and also being thought of as attractive or good looking. And again, that's a whole video unto itself.
So folks, this is the last episode of Braless Season 1. It's been real. See you never.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, thank heavens.
JK, you know I'm all about that Season 2. Weeks when we reboot, and let me know what you want to talk about in next season down below, and anything else that's on your mind.
Well, that's the end of Laci's video, and subsequently the end of mine. I want you guys to say thank you once again to Chaos Slick Sweet for helping me do this video response. His script and all his commentary will be in the comments below. That being said, I just hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below, and as always, have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.